Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. It's a pleasure to be here with my fellow panelists for the panel Importance of Fostering an Entrepreneurial Culture in Schools and Universities as part of the WEF Caribbean event. I'd like to introduce myself first, and then I'm going to introduce each of my fellow panelists. I am Monica Novoa. I am Director of Latin American Initiatives for the Enterprise Innovation Institute of the Georgia Institute of Technology, the Economic Development Organization of Georgia Tech. And with me, I have Cyril Bie, Executive Director and founder of the Center for Youth Entrepreneurship Development in Nigeria. He works in the arts, entrepreneurial, and social work industries. We also have Dr. Moraima de Hoyos Ruperto, Director of the Business and Economic Development Center for the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez and Business Entrepreneurship Professor in Puerto Rico, and Dr. Joy Harris, Associate Director of the CreateX program and Professor of Electrical Engineering at Georgia Tech.
Hi.
Hello. I would like to start by introducing the topic of our panel and why is it important to talk about this and what would be the objective for our conversation of today. So we know that entrepreneurship education has generated considerable interest in recent decades because of the positive impact it has on economic growth and creation of jobs and wealth generation for regions. We understand that entrepreneurial culture is essential to ensure that entrepreneurship thrive. And for young generations to develop entrepreneurial mindset, it is necessary to place more emphasis on entrepreneurship education that encourage learning by doing, experimenting, failing, and learning from failure. Our objective today is to share some of the thinking and experience about entrepreneurship education and how it can change the way that future generations think, identify, prepare for, and act on entrepreneurial opportunities that will solve critical problems and create value for society. So with this in mind, I'd like to start by asking the first question is, how would you describe the essence of having an entrepreneurial mindset? And what are some of the benefits of entrepreneurial thinking? I would like to start with Dr. Moraima de Hoyos Ruperto.
Hi. I think that when we talk about entrepreneurial mindset, we are talking about a specific set of belief, knowledge, thought, thought process that drive an entrepreneurial behavior. For that reason, the benefit of having an entrepreneurial mindset is to have the ability to identify opportunities where others see problems or usually see problems. The individual with entrepreneurial mindset usually are persistent, are resilient, and self-efficacy. All of those skills and aptitude are essential to be successful in their entrepreneurial journey. So, what we are looking for are people who can change their mindset and have the attitude to resolve problems. Basically, that is my suggestion about the the definition and the benefit of entrepreneurial mindset.
Thank you, Moraima. Joy.
Yes, I would like to add at Georgia Tech, we also use the Keem Framework for Entrepreneurial Mindset. And we focus on the three C's curiosity, connections, and creating value. So we want our students to be ever curious about the status quo and what they see in the world and be able to connect their own fields to other fields and also form connections across industries, across majors, and across interest. And then we want them to be able to create value, which leads to one of the benefits of having an entrepreneurial mindset. And for us, that biggest benefit is being able to generate resources beyond those that they currently control. And so being able to teach our students in this way, eventually we all reach the end of the resources that we currently have access to. And at that point, we have to be entrepreneurial in order to continue our journey and to continue to add value.
Thank you, Joy.
Okay. We are going to be a little bit more practical here, because you see, the mindset of an entrepreneur is an actor, sort of. It's an actor. Is a dream word. It's somebody who is ready to take up an opportunity, spot the gap, and then take action to implement whatever he has seen. So the mindset must be there, the culture must be there, the attitude must be there, the drive must also be there. Any person who thinks, or any young person who is ready to become an entrepreneur, must be active in terms of his environment. He must align with his environment. He must also know that as he's seeing this opportunity, he will take advantage of the opportunity to implement whatever he has seen in economic terms. So it's important for the mindset of young people to be developed along that line. It is important for young people to also see the opportunity that is within their environment, and try as much as possible to take advantage of it, and then design a framework that will be able to make them achieve whatever they want to achieve within that economic opportunity that they've spotted. So it's important, very well for cultures to start thinking of building mindset towards entrepreneurship, because that is how the world is going to grow. The world is changing. Unemployment is everywhere at the moment. So the world is changing. So everybody's got to have that mindset in his belief that he can do something to change his or her situation or his life. That's my perspective to what entrepreneurial mindset could be, and the benefit that accrues to it.
Thank you, everyone, for your passionate answers. And so along these lines, why is it important to teach entrepreneurship in schools, universities, and does entrepreneurship education and culture promote a student's entrepreneurial initiative? Anyone wants to start? Joy, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, the culture has to foster entrepreneurship. The reason that it's so important to teach this in the school is this is the place where students learn to fail. This is where we learn how to not pass a test in study, or how we learn to teach ourselves, to understand information. And if we don't teach this entrepreneurial mindset and the entrepreneurial skill set in school, then our youth is lacking a vital skill set to generate value later on in their lives. They're also lacking the ability to take ownership of their own employment, take ownership of their own economic generation and their own economic opportunities. And so we do our entire population a disservice by not teaching it in school. And at the same time, if we're going to teach this skill set and this mindset, then we have to create a culture where entrepreneurship is welcome. It doesn't make sense to teach it and then say, oh, but don't ever consider being an entrepreneur, or it's too risky, or if you fail, bad things will happen. We have to create this embracing culture, this safety net that says it's okay to try something and to fail fast and to fail forward and to fail hard and get back up again and do it all over again.
Thank you, Joy. Cyril, yes, go ahead. You are muted.
Schools basically is a creative center for knowledge. And we're talking about sustainability in entrepreneurship. When you start a business, it is very, very important and very key that people should be able to document the process. So you have the practice and you have the literary part of it, whereby you'll be able to document it. So the school is supposed to be a center where they can teach these skills on two sides. You do the practice and you're also able to document the process or the procedure for generations of people that's coming after you to learn how you did it, how you were able to succeed. So it's important that schools, bring this into their curriculum and also let these people, these students, to understand that as you are doing it, you also need to put it down, document the process so that others who are coming behind you can learn from the process, and then there's sustainability at that point in time. So it's important that schools teach this culture of entrepreneurship and teach it in such a way that it will have both sides, two sides to it, the practice and the literature. Thank you.
Very, very good. Moraima, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to add that provide a new opportunity and perspective for the students. Sometimes the students start the university they didn't know that they can create something new, that they can create a business. So through the entrepreneurship courses, the student can develop a new idea, but also they can understand the venture process and how they can be useful for the small and medium enterprise. All of that could be new for most of the students that usually are focused on the technical side of the college or the university or in the school. So for me, it's a new opportunity for them.
Thank you for your answers. Very interesting to highlight, no, the importance of the culture, of the mindset, of identifying opportunities, but also the importance of having a process of being able to repeat, to teach it in the university, in the school, to teach entrepreneurship skills and be able to repeat that and to have processes to do that. So along those lines, the next question is, what would you say are the key success factors for entrepreneurship education that is inclusive and equitable and that can offer opportunities to everyone, especially to women and to young girls? Anybody wants to start? This time, Cyril, would you like to start?
I think mentorship is key to a sustainable entrepreneurship program, because if we have successful entrepreneurs, we would like them to mentor other young people who would probably become another set of entrepreneurs. So mentorship is a key success factor as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. We also would like to see that there are vocational centers around our communities, where people can learn the practice of entrepreneurship, whereas others are learning the theory of it. They should also learn the practice of it, and they should have investment, in the young people. The government should have investment in young people. These are key success factors that when you see that these things are going on side by side, you see that entrepreneurship culture is, evolving, and then it's being institutionalized in the society. So talk of our country now, Nigeria, where entrepreneurship was not taught before now. For a long time, people were not teaching entrepreneurial culture or mindset or thereabout. So a lot of persons were thinking about going to school and becoming or getting a white collar job, also to speak. But today, the unemployment rate here in Nigeria is high because people were not taught the mindset of creating jobs for themselves or getting involved in creating jobs. So we think if you want to get key success factors, or you want to see that your country is thriving, or your community is thriving, or your community is growing, or you're having a sustainable development agenda for your community, it's quite important that we have this line of thought around mentorship, around vocational institutions, around teaching a man to fish, sort of. So that's my perspective to it.
Thank you. Joy, go ahead.
Yes, I would also like to add, in order to have a diverse and inclusive and equitable culture, it also helps when potential entrepreneurs see other entrepreneurs who look like them. It helps when women see other women and to Cyril's point, can be mentored by other women. It helps when minorities can see minorities, or when people of color can see and converse with other people of color. It just feels a lot more attainable when you're seeing someone who looks like you, who can do this. We've seen this a lot in our work at Georgia Tech. When we get students who are entrepreneurs who are diverse, then they tend to bring diverse co-founders with them, and they tend to bring females with them. Women tend to have women co-founders. It's the best way to get that diverse and equitable streak across the board is to have a diverse and equitable set of entrepreneurs to start with. And getting those, it only takes one. When you get one, then it's a lot easier to get the next, and then the next, and the next.
Moraima.
Yes, I would like to add that we need to be open to new ideas and way to do things in any form. So inside the classroom and outside the classroom, we need to provide the environment conducive to create good relationship, good network, and experience, as mentioned my colleagues. So it's more than a lecture, it's more than read a book. We need to provide the experience, and we need to provide the contact with other people to increase the entrepreneurial opportunity of all of those students. And part of those experience is the inclusion of all the people and accept all the people to work together and to work for others.
Excellent, very good. I was just wondering if you have, off the top of your head, any examples of any initiatives or any programs that are working that you have implemented in your institutions and that is having good results. Anybody would like to start?
Okay, so I was leading, or I lead the Global Entrepreneurship Network here in Nigeria, where we do the Global Entrepreneurship Week. We celebrate the Global Entrepreneurship Week, and we have been working with universities, across the country to implement this program annually. Usually in November of every year, where we do this program. So what we do, or what we've been doing, is basically to write to universities and talk to them about, first, we need to do what is called the entrepreneurial walk. That is a campaign to, create the awareness for entrepreneurial development and for young people to participate in business. And that's been working because the ecosystem is now expanding. Young people are getting involved in starting up businesses. So we have startups around, we have tech hubs around. So, and it's working. So if we can achieve that, we feel that other communities, other nations, although the Global Entrepreneurship Network is around over 150 countries or thereabout. So I think it's a working initiative. The Center for Youth Entrepreneurship Development hosts this program every year, and then we're taking it to communities, and we're talking to young people to participate. So we now have a hub of young persons who are actually doing something, and then we give them mentorship, and then we are having a culture of entrepreneurship, developed here in Nigeria already.
Thank you. Joy, I think you wanted to answer next. Okay.
Yes, sure. I would love to discuss how we work at Georgia Tech. We have 3 types of programs that tend to work very well. First, we give the students curricular credit by taking a class. The class is Startup Lab, and they learn evidence-based entrepreneurship. The benefit of this is we get students who wouldn't consider entrepreneurship as in starting their own company, but because they can get curricular credit for it, they can use it towards their degree. They're willing to take the chance and learn a bit more about evidence-based entrepreneurship, and it piques their interest. The second program that we have is research. We allow the students to make their own prototype. The course is called Idea to Prototype. Students can also get senior design credit for making their own prototype. And the only requirement is that they're interested in it. Some students will use it to start a company. Other students will just use it to make something that's really cool. But we give them mentorship, technical expertise, and domain expertise in order to make what they're interested in. And that helps as well. And then our flagship program, Startup Launch, is a summer program that allows students to launch a company. Now, it's pretty resource intensive because we do give students we give them investments if they're interested. We also have lawyers who give pro bono services in order to incorporate all their companies. And we have accountants who give pro bono services in order to help them set up the accounting structure for their companies. We give them coaches as well as mentors with domain expertise in the areas for the industries they want to start their companies. We launched 70 companies last summer, and we're aiming to launch 100 companies this coming summer. But through all three programs, we work with over 5,000 students. Some of the students are going to launch successful companies, and some of the students are simply going to learn more about entrepreneurial confidence, evidence-based entrepreneurship, and increase their entrepreneurial mindset. But regardless of the depth or how long they stay in the program, each one of them is being touched in some way and increasing in their entrepreneurship skill set and mindset. So those three programs tend to work well for us.
Thank you, Joy. Muraima.
Yes, in our case, we have the University Center, which is a EDA grant. But as part of our program, we create other special programs or projects to promote the entrepreneurship from the university and to provide the opportunities to the students. One of that program or project is the UPRM eChip network. That is basically a collaborative network that includes professor, students at undergraduate and graduate level, but also include entrepreneurs, alumni, and we made several activities together to promote the entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial mindset in our students, and also to promote the entrepreneurial opportunities and the entrepreneurial journey in our students. For example, as part of that group or collaborative group, we support several national competitions. We also assist the student in pitching activities in crowdfunding. Also, we support the courses that are not directly related to entrepreneurship, but wants to include the entrepreneurship subject. So we have several opportunities through the connection. So it's a great project that we have. We also have the makerspace, we also have the courses, we also have the center, but more than the infrastructure or the physical things, I think that the most important is the connection that we create between all of those people inside the university and outside the university.
Very good, excellent answers. And I wanted to make a quick comment that I can see a common thread on all of the three answers, and is that there is a topic of entrepreneurship ecosystems too. And so there are ecosystems, like in the case of Syria on the Center for Entrepreneurship for Youth Entrepreneurship Development, is a more nascent ecosystem, a younger ecosystem that is developing. In the case of Atlanta, we have a mature ecosystem. We weren't born this way. We have been working on this for the last 25 years. And so we are in a position in which at Georgia Tech, we have created curricular programs, extracurricular programs And also we have the funding to support students to create the startups within the university. So even they don't have to leave the university, they graduate and can create a startup within the university. And then in the case of Puerto Rico, it is also an ecosystem that has been growing for the last 10, maybe 12 years, Moraima. And it is maybe in between, no? Between what the situation for cereal in Nigeria and also in Atlanta. So there are different programs for each stage, but the important thing is connections, experiential learning, mentoring, culture, no? So those things seem to be common in all of the three answers. So I do have another question for you. And so now I would like to talk a little bit about the challenges that you have overcome in your institutions or organizations to build that entrepreneurial ecosystem that is favorable to entrepreneurship, to support students or young aspiring entrepreneurs. I would like to start with Dr. Moraima. Is that okay?
Yes, I think that the challenge that we have is continue to strengthen or to connect well the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We need to continue working with the lack of connection or the silos mentality, because for strength the entrepreneurial ecosystem, we need to be well connected, really connected. So that is, for me, that is a big challenge. As you mentioned, for the last 10 plus year in Puerto Rico, we have a movement that try to connect all of those entrepreneurial advocates, and that is something that we advance, but we need to continue working with that. At this moment, I think that that is the challenge that we still have.
Thank you, Moraima.
For us out here, we work with a whole lot of young persons, and like I said earlier on, entrepreneurship is basically um, it's a dream world sort of. You must practice whatever you've been taught to do. So most times or most often, it's still a challenge, the issue of startup capital. When you get some young persons or you get many young persons and you train them on entrepreneurial journey, and they expect that at the end of the day, after the training, they should have something to use, like financial support to start up the business. Because if you want to start up a business, most times, beside bootstrapping, you must have some money to do the basics. So the challenge is, getting funding or getting capital for these trainees or these young entrepreneurs who wants to start their businesses. And it's still a challenge here in where we work in Nigeria. Many young persons with ideas, bright ideas, they don't really have, funding to start their businesses. And so it comes to us most times that we try as much as possible to get, funding organizations, to support what they do. But it's not really very many funding organizations out here. So a lot of ideas, die halfway because there's no money to actually implement whatever idea you have. So that's a big challenge. It's a huge challenge for entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial growth here in this part of the world.
Thank you, Cyril.
Yes.
Joy, would you like to add something?
I do echo all of these challenges. We do see very similar challenges at Georgia Tech as well. I would add, with our students, one of the bigger challenges we see is getting all of them to embrace the value in having an entrepreneurial mindset. A lot of them automatically assume that if I'm not going to start a company today, then the mindset and the skill set won't be of value. And so getting them to understand, know that the skill set is valuable at any stage in life, at any stage in your career, regardless of what you decide to do after you graduate, that's a big challenge. And the other challenge is at Georgia Tech, we actually have a very, very similar to the first speaker. We have a lot of resources. And so it's difficult with the silos, with people operating in silos. It can be difficult for an entrepreneur to navigate those resources. It can be difficult to understand, where do I go for funding, or where do I go for intellectual property guidance? Where do I go for mentorship? Where do I go for domain expertise versus where do I go for legal help? There are a lot of resources, but navigating them all can be challenging, which goes back to connecting the ecosystem so that people understand how these resources within the ecosystem relate to each other and how you can use all of these resources to help in that entrepreneurial journey.
Excellent. Excellent. Very interesting answers. So my next question is, given all the challenges that we have been discussing, how do you think that schools and universities or vocational programs can improve entrepreneurship education to make it more accessible and more inclusive in the future? Who would like to start? Moraima, go ahead.
Okay. Universities should provide the entrepreneurial inclusive and conducive environment. That should include the curricular activities as courses, special programs, but I think that the part of co-curricular and extracurricular activities are very important to, I don't know if I will say improve, but to strengthen maybe those messages that we share in the classroom. And that need to include the support of all the administrative persons. We need the support of other faculty of other disciplines. We need the support of organizations. And also we need the infrastructure. We need the spaces. We need the center that support entrepreneurship. So I think that it's like the word that we use. It's an ecosystem. We need to create the synergy between all the players to create a vibrant environment, an environment that promotes entrepreneurship, that create something new, that promote the innovation, that include the people, that include people of first year, women, men, as mentioned, people of different colors, different studies area, different countries. So we need to be open and we need to connect all the areas of the university to promote the entrepreneurial mindset and the entrepreneurial environment.
Great. Joey, go ahead.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I would also like to add something that we're doing now that is working very well is adding entrepreneurial modules. So small pieces of evidence-based entrepreneurship in very small but scaffolded ways into our core classes. And so because it's in a core class, students can't self-select out, which automatically makes it a lot more inclusive. And we're reaching the diverse population that is our students. And it also, by this being in a part of the core class, very, very small but deliberate and intentional ways, the students who otherwise would have self-selected out actually start to think about what it means to be entrepreneurial and what it means to be in an entrepreneurial ecosystem and to have this mindset and this skill set. We chose one of our foundational courses. It's a CS class that all of the Georgia Tech students have to take. And the instructor just made one piece of one assignment, entrepreneurial, causing them to think about if you were going to solve a problem by creating a business, what problem would you solve? And we're also introducing it to some of our first year seminar classes, NECE, for example, that's a required course. Again, making them think if you were going to solve a problem and start a business to solve that problem, what problem would you solve? What business would you create? And it's a super simple way to cause students to think about how they would generate their own value, how they would solve the problems that they see every day without just without the heavy lift of having to take an entire class or to have an entire incubator or an accelerator. And you get to a very inclusive and diverse student population just by being a part of these required classes.
Great. Very good example, Joy.
Okay, so I would like to add that I'll take you a little bit into what they currently do here before now. Universities should teach more of creativity and innovation because for entrepreneurship to thrive, there must be creativity in the mind set of young people or those who want to become entrepreneurs, and there should be innovation too, and there should be that drive. Many young persons are lazy because universities have been operating in such a way that they only teach theoretical part of life or living, and forget that life is practical. Entrepreneurship is also practical. So I would like universities, to dwell more on committing young people to create and innovate. So we can have a situation whereby people can generate wealth without considering working for government or stealing or corruption or stuff like that. So innovation and creativity is key to a thriving society built on entrepreneurship.
Very well said. Very good. Okay, so I think that we still have time for maybe one or two more questions. And I would like to start to ask you now a question a little bit more about social development. Why is entrepreneurial education important to support and foster economic and social development? Cyril, go ahead.
Economic and social development through the perspective of entrepreneurship or through the art of entrepreneurship is very important because you see, the entrepreneur doesn't just really exist, in his own space. He exists around people, and culture is also important. So when you understand your culture, when you understand, a society better, there will be transformation through you, through the arts of entrepreneurship. So it's always very important, or it's good for us or for young people to learn the idea around the society, ideas around the society, ideas around culture, ideas around imagination. And you see that will transform the society, because when you have good people, when you have good thinking people, the society can thrive. The society can become sustainable. Social activities can function well. Cultural activities can function well. So I always tell myself, or I tell people, and I said, if you have an entrepreneur developed in your ecosystem or in your school, then you have a good society built already. Because, for example, every entrepreneur will not want to get involved in security, issues. Will not want to get into problems because they think more of their businesses. They think more of their enterprise. They think more of building a sustainable business. So if we teach young people to become entrepreneurially developed, for young people to have entrepreneurial mindset, I think some of the problems or the challenges of the society is already solved. There will be social transformation, there will be economic transformation, there will be all kind of improvement, societal improvement. So that's my perspective to it.
Thank you, Cyril. Beautiful, beautiful comment. Who would like to go next?
Yes, I would like to add that basically entrepreneurship are for resolve problems. So basically have a direct impact to the social development, and also provide job, provide new opportunity, improve the economy, improve the social environment. So have a direct impact to the social development of any country. Basically, it's a direct relationship with the social development.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with both of you. And the only thing I would add is, in addition to entrepreneurs solving problems, when you have a vibrant entrepreneurial education in your school system, you actually teach entrepreneurs how to identify which problems are worth solving. Because a lot of people, if given the problem, can figure out how to solve it and how to add value and how to create innovative solutions. When you add that piece to the education system, then you teach the students and you teach entrepreneurs which problems should we go after, which problems will generate the most value, which problems will allow us to capture the most value. And we know we do that by serving the greatest number of people, by meeting the greatest needs, by solving the biggest pain, and by adding the most value to our societies, which inevitably is going to help everyone around us.
Excellent, excellent answers. So I think that I have only one more question because we're close to the time. And the final question is, what do you think are going to be the trends in the future for entrepreneurship education? I know that we don't have a crystal ball, but if you have, in your most crazy ideas, what do you think will be the future of entrepreneurship education? Cyril, go ahead.
Okay. Let me say this. Before now, there wasn't entrepreneurial development centers in schools or vocational centers in schools. But at the moment, a lot of schools here in our country, they've established vocational centers, they've established entrepreneurial development centers. So I think in future, we would have businesses in schools. We have schools running businesses. Although some schools started running businesses on their own, producing water and all those hand sanitizer, whatever. But we would have to see more businesses emerging from universities, from the campuses of universities. We have to see young people getting themselves involved in creating businesses before they leave universities. So that's the future of entrepreneurship education as far as university education for entrepreneurs is concerned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Joey, go ahead.
I would like to add to that. I agree completely with that vision. And I say that because on Georgia Tech's campus, for example, one of our students started a coffee shop, and now that coffee shop sits in the lower level of one of the buildings, and the whole community can come and have really good coffee. Another group of students, they started a company with a virtual meeting place. It's called Gatherly. And students or people can have a virtual conference where you all connect in different rooms, different virtual rooms. And now Georgia Tech uses Gatherly as one of the major meeting platforms for conferences. We are creating a building, CreateX companies and teams will have a store where they can sell their goods or sell subscription services. And so in the future, I see our students, our academic students, pursuing endeavors that are entrepreneurial, and then those startups and those companies actually serving the community in which they started. I see the students creating value for each other and creating value for the universities, and so that we're actually raising up our own entrepreneurs who are then serving the universities themselves. And I can see that happening at full scale within the next 5 to 10 years.
Moraima.
Yes, I think that what I am looking right now is that most of the students are very interested to create new things. And most of them come from the engineering department or the science or art. So I think that this generation are moving or are open to explore the entrepreneurship opportunity. And that is something good. That is something that gave us a better perspective of the future of the entrepreneurship education. So I think that we are just starting the entrepreneurial pathway. I think I am hoping, and I think that this and the next generation will continue or considering so much the entrepreneurial venture, the entrepreneurial opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Joy, go ahead.
Yes. The last thing I want to add, Dr. Moraima, I think that 100% of our students over the next 5 to 10 years are going to be touched by some entrepreneurial program, either a program like Cyril's or a program like CreateX or any of the number of resources that you all have on your campus. I think it's going to go from a percentage of the student to every student.
These are super exciting visions of the future. I could not agree more with the three of you. I think we are going to see huge progress in entrepreneurial education in the next 3 to 5 years. And it's very exciting to talk about these topics with the three of you today. And so that was the last question that I had. So that concludes our panel. I hope to see you in person the next time. It was very nice talking to the three of you today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, and thank you
for the
hosting.
opportunity. And congratulations to World Women Economic Forum.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.